Hello, everybody. My name is John, and what I'm here to talk with you about is how to make more efficient time and usage of the knowledge of getting fit for yourself. Christmas is nearly upon us. We only have about 7 days left. At least, I hope it's 7 days by the time YouTube actually posts my video. Anyway, what I'm going to do is share with you some of the information that I've learned throughout my lifetime. I graduated in 2008 with a bachelor degree in exercise science, and I hope that the information I share with you will be helpful to you in all of your fitness endeavors. First thing I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about what should hopefully help you to trust me with the information I'm about to share with you. I graduated with the bachelor degree in 2008 from Wichita State University. My instructor was Jeremy Patterson, and basically a few things that you should know is that I read scholarly journals as a hobby. It's something that I like to do because I like to know all the new things that are basically being discovered for all of us to use in the future. The things that I like to do usually involve, weightlifting and trying to get bigger, trying to get more muscular, and trying to get stronger. So that's a little bit of what my hobbies include. These are the things that are really important to me, so I hope that they help you all also. So to start with, I'm going to talk with you a little bit about the muscle signaling pathway, which is generally referred to as mTOR. That's a small m, capital T, capital O, capital R. Now, what this muscle signaling pathway does is it regulates your ability to grow, which is, building muscle and, of course, to get stronger. One of the things that inhibits this signaling pathway is myostatin. Myostatin is also a muscle regulator, but it's just an opposite effect. Whenever you train aerobically, that's light intensity with moderate to long period of time. So 30 minutes or more of light jogging is usually what would be considered aerobic. What this does, though, is it allows myostatin to become more active and inhibit the mTOR muscle signaling pathway. So all of you that have ever questioned why it is that bodybuilders or powerlifters don't like to do aerobic activity, well, that's why. And the other reason is because a lot of times whenever you do aerobic activity, a lot of people who do aerobics don't get the required amount of carbohydrates in their diet. When that happens, you will lose muscle. Your body will automatically skip over fat and use muscle as its main energy source instead of fat. So we have no idea why that is, but carbohydrates are an absolute necessity, especially before you do aerobic activity. Otherwise, you will lose any hard gained muscle. And carbohydrates are basically a catalyst that will allow you to burn fat. I know that there are probably a few of you out there that still believe in the Atkins diet, but it's a bunch of garbage. Don't even worry about it. Atkins was a fool when he invented this thing, so don't even blink twice about it, because I'm going to help you actually do what's necessary for yourself. Whenever you do intense activities, such as powerlifting or bodybuilding or such, you activate the mTOR muscle signaling pathway and you inhibit myostatin. Now, in order to take full advantage, you still need carbohydrates and you still need protein. I would say anytime before you work out, if you plan on doing heavy lifting, definitely fill up on carbohydrates. You still need proteins in your diet. I think it's still essential before you work out, but not as much as the carbohydrates are. Now, whenever you finish working out, double up on the protein and still eat carbohydrates, but maybe not as much, because obviously you're done working out and you're not going to be working out for the rest of the day unless you double up and you decide to work out once in the morning and once in the evening. So what is it that I do specifically? Well, my typical routine, I don't really count the number of sets that I do. I usually time myself for about 30 minutes per a double set of body parts. And what I mean by that is, if I work my biceps, I also work my triceps. If I work my chest, I work my back. If I work my quadriceps, I'll also work my hamstrings. Anytime you work one end of your body, you need to work the opposite end. You need to work the contradicting muscle movement. Otherwise, you'll be imbalanced. And if you ever wondered about muscle balance, rugby players are the furthest you ever need to look. They are the most balanced muscularly and strength-wise that you will ever meet. So, but when I say, working double, what I usually do is I superset everything that I do. Whenever I work my chest, I work my back without resting. And then what I do after that, I'll rest for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, 3 to 5 minutes is actually what they recommend in popular publications as well as in scholarly reviewed journals. So the ones I usually use, are on Google or the Journal of Applied Physiology, just for your own information. Power lifters also work at this kind of a level, typically within about 3 sets, maybe a little bit more, but not too much. They recommend 3 or more sets for every single body part you do, whether you're trying to build power or trying to build muscle. Specifically, I think it's good if you can do both. Typically what they recommend is anywhere from 6 to 12 repetitions. I know that's a large margin, but when you're trying to build strength or build muscle, I think that they're right on the money with this, because you can build strength and muscle with the lower end. They recommend not necessarily going any less than 6 repetitions per set if you're trying to build muscle, but if you're trying to build strength, it still works for you. So what I typically do, I usually do about 30 minutes of every body part, and I superset everything. So I'll work my chest and my back for about 30 minutes. Now, with about 3 minutes of rest time, and you determine that maybe it's about a minute, maybe slightly more than a minute if you work both your chest and your back, you should be able to get in about 6 sets, no problem. A lot of bodybuilders talk about varying the exercises and varying the number of sets and varying the number of reps that you do, but I honestly don't believe in any of that stuff. Because what I typically do, I'll start with a weight in which I can get 6 repetitions on my first or second sets, and I work up from it. I don't change the exercises very much. All I do really, every single day that I lift, I'll try to, do more repetitions the next time. If I'm working with like 30 pounds on dumbbell curls or something like that, if I started out with 6 reps, I'm hoping that by the end of a few weeks, I'll be able to do 12. Now, typically after 12 repetitions, you want to increase the weight. And, there's no real evidence as to why. They just found that it works. You're not going to find that they've, cut open cadavers and studied the actual muscle growth or anything like that. Usually what they'll do is they'll, wrap a tape measure around a body part, and they'll just try to figure out, if it worked compared to the last time. So, it's really not that hard. I absolutely believe in linear progression. I know a lot of times when people refer to linear progression, they mean, you work out with a heavy weight, but then you work out with a heavier weight the next time. I just try to increase the number of repetitions I do. If I can do 12, on the first set that I do it. I might work out with that same weight one more time, and then I'll increase the weight to where I can only lift it 6 times again. I almost always work to muscular failure, and I've actually found that, whenever you're working pretty heavy, you're not going to get the so-called pump that bodybuilders refer to. Now, there is some scientific evidence that the pump is actually good for you whenever you're trying to lift weights. And the reason is because of a scientific phenomena called occlusion. Basically, occlusion is whenever blood vessels are blocked for any period of time because of tension. Now, they have found that you can wrap a rubber band or a string or a thin rope around somebody's arms or somebody's legs whenever they're lifting, and you can create the same effect. And they've actually found that older people who do this can work out with like 20%